He knew the job was unusual the moment he read the contract. Private security, live-in assignment, absolute discretion, no personal involvement, no questions, and one final clause that made his jaw tighten. You will sleep in the same room as the client, not near her room, not outside her door, with her. He almost walked away. Almost. But the pay was impossible to ignore, and the name attached to the contract carried weight, dangerous weight, the kind whispered in closed rooms, the kind people didn't survive by crossing. She was known simply as Ms. Valen. No first name, no public face. A woman who owned buildings, influence, silence. The kind of woman men feared without ever meeting. By the time he arrived at the estate, night had already settled. The gates opened without a sound, black iron sliding apart as if the property itself had been expecting him. Guards watched from shadows, armed, alert, measuring him as he passed. He felt it immediately. The pressure. This wasn't just a job. It was a territory. Inside, the house was vast but quiet, lit low, polished stone floors reflecting soft golden light. No unnecessary movement, no wasted breath. Everything existed with purpose, including him. She was waiting in the bedroom. Not the sitting room. Not an office. The bedroom. She stood near the window, city lights stretching below her like something she owned. She didn't turn when he entered, didn't acknowledge him right away. "You're late," she said calmly. "It's my first night," he replied evenly. Silence followed. Then she turned, and he understood why people feared her. She wasn't loud. She wasn't cruel. She didn't need to be. Her power was controlled, precise, wrapped in elegance. Dark hair pulled back, expression unreadable, eyes sharp enough to strip intention bare. She looked him over slowly, not with desire, not with approval, with assessment. "You understand the rules," she said. "You are here to protect me, not to speak unless necessary, not to ask questions, not to forget where you stand." "Yes, ma'am." Her gaze lingered on him for a second longer than necessary. "The bed is shared," she added, as if discussing something trivial. "That is non-negotiable." He nodded, though tension tightened his spine. The room itself was immaculate. Large bed centered like a throne. Clean lines. No softness except the sheets. This wasn't intimacy. It was control. She moved first, removing her jacket, placing it carefully aside. Not seductive, not slow, simply deliberate. She lay on her side of the bed, back to him, already dismissing his presence. "Lights off," she said. He complied. The darkness felt heavier than expected. He lay stiffly on the opposite edge of the bed, fully dressed, alert, every sense tuned. He could hear her breathing, steady, calm. She slept easily. He did not. Every movement felt amplified. Every shift of fabric, every inch of space between them felt charged, restrained, dangerous. This wasn't desire. Not yet. It was awareness. At some point in the night she stirred, barely, and then she whispered his name. Soft, unconscious, unintended, his muscles locked. She didn't wake, didn't turn, but the sound lingered in the dark like a line crossed without permission. By morning, she acted as if nothing had happened. But he knew better, and so did she. Because when she passed him at the door, she paused, just long enough to say, "Tonight," she said quietly, "will be harder." And for the first time since taking the job, he realized the danger wasn't protecting her. It was surviving the nights beside her. Morning arrived without warmth. Sunlight crept through the tall curtains, stopping short of the bed, as if it too respected boundaries. He was already awake when she moved, senses trained to the smallest shift. She sat up, back straight, posture flawless, as though sleep had never touched her. "Get dressed," she said calmly. "You start observing today." No acknowledgement of the night, no mention of the whisper. He followed her through the estate as daylight revealed its true scale. Corridors lined with art worth more than cities. Glass walls overlooking private gardens, guarded by men who did not speak unless spoken to. Everywhere they went, eyes followed her, lowered, respectful, afraid. And him. He stayed one step behind, exactly where she wanted him. She spoke rarely, but when she did, it was precise. She corrected staff without raising her voice. She issued commands without repeating herself. Power flowed from her naturally, effortlessly, like gravity. Yet there were moments, brief, dangerous moments, when her attention shifted to him. Not his hands, not his body, his awareness. During meetings, she would pause mid-sentence, sensing his gaze, and continue without looking at him. When threats were discussed, her eyes flicked to him first, not for protection, but reassurance. It unsettled him. By evening, exhaustion pressed into his bones, but discipline kept him sharp. He ate when allowed, stood where instructed, listened without reacting. That night, they returned to the bedroom. Same routine, same distance. She changed without embarrassment, never facing him, never hiding either. It wasn't invitation. It was indifference sharpened into control. "Remember the rules," she said as the lights dimmed. "You are here to observe, not to feel." "Yes, ma'am." Silence settled between them. The bed creaked as she shifted closer than the night before, not touching, but enough for him to feel her warmth. The scent of her, clean, faintly floral, unmistakable, pulled at his concentration. He stared at the ceiling. Minutes passed. Maybe more. Then she spoke again, softer this time. "Do you ever wonder," she asked, "what people fear more, violence or restraint?" He answered carefully. "Restraint lasts longer." She smiled in the dark. He heard it. "Good," she murmured. "Then you understand me." Her hand rested briefly on the mattress between them, not on him, but close enough to feel intentional, close enough to test discipline. Neither moved. Sleep came slowly, and when it did, it was shallow. Sometime before dawn, he felt it, a shift, barely perceptible. Her breathing changed. Her fingers curled slightly, tension passing through her like a restrained thought. She didn't speak his name this time. She stopped herself. But the effort told him everything. By morning, the rule was clear. Distance was not about safety. It was about control. And control, he was learning, was far more fragile than fear. It happened in the smallest moment, the kind no one would ever notice. They were standing in the east corridor just after sunset, the house unusually quiet. A security update had delayed them, voices lowered, radios muted. She reviewed reports on her tablet, expression composed, posture flawless as always. He stood close, closer than protocol allowed, but the hallway was narrow, and she hadn't ordered him to move. Her heel caught slightly on the edge of the marble floor. It wasn't dramatic. She didn't stumble. But instinct reacted faster than command. His hand reached out. It closed around her wrist. Firm, controlled, immediate. The contact lasted less than a second. He released her instantly, stepping back, already prepared to apologize, to accept whatever consequence came next. But she didn't pull away. She looked at his hand first, then at him. The corridor seemed to hold its breath. "That wasn't necessary," she said calmly, No, he replied, equally controlled, but it was instinct. Her gaze lingered, not accusing, not grateful, curious. You touched me, she said, not as a question. Yes. A pause. Not dangerous. Measured. She didn't raise her voice, didn't summon anyone, didn't step away. Instead, she adjusted her sleeve slowly, deliberately, covering the place where his hand had been. It meant nothing, she said. He nodded. Of course. She turned and continued walking, heels clicking softly against the floor. But something had already changed. That night, the bed felt smaller. They lay as they always did, on opposite sides, facing away, but awareness pressed closer than distance allowed. His mind replayed the moment, the brief warmth of her skin through fabric, the way she hadn't reacted the way others did. She spoke just once before sleep. You'll be more careful, she said. Yes, ma'am. Minutes passed. Then, unexpectedly, she added, Next time, warn me. He didn't respond, because there shouldn't be a next time. Sleep came unevenly. When he shifted, his shoulder brushed the mattress between them, closer than before. He froze. She didn't move away. Her breathing changed, slower, deeper, not asleep, not fully awake. In the dark, her fingers brushed his knuckles, accidental, weightless, gone instantly. Neither acknowledged it. Morning came quietly. She was already dressed when he woke, hair perfect, expression unreadable. No trace of the night remained. No softness, no hesitation. Yet, as she passed him, she paused. You reacted correctly, she said, voice neutral. You didn't hesitate. He met her gaze. It's my job. Her lips curved, not quite a smile. That's what makes it dangerous. She left the room without another word, and for the first time since taking the assignment, he understood the toggle shifting beneath the rules. The first touch had meant nothing, which was exactly why it meant everything. The rain began after midnight. Not loud, not violent, just steady enough to press against the windows like a reminder that the world outside still existed. Inside the estate, everything remained controlled. Quiet hallways, dim lights, guards rotating shifts with disciplined precision. Inside the bedroom, control was thinner. He stood near the window, jacket off, sleeves rolled, listening to the storm and pretending it was just another night. She entered without ceremony, already changed, hair loose in a way she rarely allowed. She didn't look at him at first. She never did, until she wanted to. Lock the door, she said. It wasn't fear in her voice. It was intention. He complied, the soft click echoing louder than it should have. When he turned back, she was sitting on the edge of the bed, posture composed, hands folded loosely in her lap. The space between them felt deliberate, measured, tested. You've been different today, she said. So have you, he replied, her eyes lifted, sharp, assessing. Then, surprisingly, she didn't challenge him. Sit, she said. He did, careful to keep distance, careful not to assume. The mattress dipped, the smallest shift bringing them closer than before, close enough that warmth replaced space. You reacted without thinking, she continued, voice calm. That tells me something. That I'm doing my job? That you don't hesitate. She turned slightly, studying his profile now, not his stance or readiness. Him. The silence stretched, not awkward, charged. I don't like surprises, she said. I won't give you any, he answered. Her hand moved then, slow, deliberate, resting on the mattress between them, not touching him, not yet. The pause was the point. Lies, she murmured. You already did. He didn't deny it. The lights dimmed automatically, responding to the hour. Shadows softened the room, made honesty easier to hide, or harder. She lay back first, claiming her side of the bed with practiced ease. He followed, tension tight along his shoulders, senses alert. The storm outside deepened, rain tapping against glass like fingers. Minutes passed. Then she shifted. Closer. Not enough to touch. Enough to be impossible to ignore. "You're awake," she said softly. "Yes." "Good." Her fingers found his wrist in the dark, not gripping, not commanding, just resting there, warm, steady. He didn't pull away. She didn't release him. The contact was quiet, almost accidental. But when he breathed, she adjusted with him. When he shifted, she followed. Subtle, unspoken synchronization. "This doesn't mean anything," she said. "No," he agreed. She didn't move her hand. The rain intensified, thunder distant and low. In the space between breaths, something eased in her posture, just a fraction, a surrender she would never name. "Stay," she said. It wasn't an order. It was a request she disguised as one. He stayed. When sleep finally came, it was not deep, but it was shared. Her hand remained at his wrist through the night, fingers curled lightly, as if letting go was more dangerous than holding on. By morning, she was already awake. Her hand was gone, her composure restored, but when she passed him, she paused, just once. "You did well," she said. Then she left. And he knew the truth, even before the door closed behind her. She hadn't held on because she needed protection. She had held on because she didn't want to be alone. Morning did not erase what the night had done. The estate moved as it always had. Guards rotating, staff silent, schedules precise. But beneath the routine, something had shifted. He felt it in the way doors seemed to open a fraction sooner, in how conversations paused when she entered the room, in the subtle recalibration of space around them. She did not summon him that day. That absence was louder than any command. By evening, the air felt heavy with unspoken decisions. He stood in the private security office reviewing feeds when the door opened without warning. She stepped inside alone, dressed simply, power set aside but never absent. "Walk with me," she said. They moved through the gardens as dusk settled, lights blooming softly along stone paths. For the first time since he arrived, no guards followed at a distance. No watchers lingered in shadow. "You crossed a line last night," she said, stopping beneath a cypress tree. He met her gaze. "You didn't tell me to step back." "No," she agreed. "I didn't." Silence stretched between them, calm, deliberate. The city murmured beyond the walls, distant and irrelevant. "I built this place on rules," she continued. "Rules keep people predictable. Fear keeps them loyal." "And you?" he asked. She exhaled slowly. "Rules kept me alone." The admission was quiet, unforced, dangerous in its honesty. "I won't pretend what happened didn't matter," she said, "but I won't pretend it was weakness, either." She turned to face him fully now, eyes steady. "So, here's the choice." He waited. "You leave," she said, "with full payment and silence guaranteed. Tonight, clean break." The offer was real. He could tell. "Or," she continued, "you stay, and the rules change." "In what way?" She took a step closer, not to test him, to meet him. "You won't be my guard," she said. "You won't be my shield or my shadow. You will stand beside me when it's required, and walk away when it's not. No ownership, no command. Choice." "And the bed?" he asked quietly. A corner of her mouth lifted. Not a smile, an acknowledgement. "It will no longer be an order," she said. "It will be a decision we make each night." He didn't answer right away. He looked at her, really looked, and saw what no one else ever did. Not fearlessness, but resolve. Not control, but restraint. "I stay," he said. She nodded once, accepting the answer without triumph. That night, the door remained unlocked. They shared the bed again. But this time, there were no rules written in silence. No distance enforced by power. When her hand found his, it wasn't to hold on. It was to choose. By morning, the estate had adjusted. The hierarchy hadn't fallen. Authority hadn't cracked. It had evolved. And as he took his place beside her in the day's first meeting, no longer a step behind, she leaned in just enough for him to hear. "Fear built this empire," she said softly, "but trust will decide what it becomes." He understood then. The hardest part had never been sleeping beside her. It was standing with her, by choice, when the rules no longer protected either of them.